Hello, my name is Darren Thomas. I'm the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to learn about if statements in R. And so, as you can see here, I'm already logged into R, and I need to start by explaining to you what exactly an if statement is. An if statement is a type of coding that we use that is based on a condition. So in other words, what we're looking for is that, hey, R, if you see such and such situation, whatever we specify inside the parentheses, then do this. That is how an if statement works. So to give you an example, if I had to just type something for fun, if 5 is greater than 3, then you might say print, 23 or something. That's an example. Now this is not real code, but this is what I've been trying to explain to you. An if statement executes a specific piece of code based on a condition. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a function. First we're going to create the function without an if statement in it, and then I'm going to show you how you can incorporate an if statement into the function so that the function will perform an additional action based on whatever criteria you place inside the if statement. So we're going to create a function, and we've talked about this in the past, and we're going to call it taxi calc. That's what we're going to call it, taxi calc. And taxi calc is going to be a function, say, I don't know, you drive for Uber or whatever or something like that. And what it's going to do is it's going to take, the miles you drive, so the miles, times the cost per mile. So we're going to call that CPM for short. And we're going to set it to a default value of 1.2. Now, in case you didn't see the video on functions, what I've done so far is I created my object called taxi calc. And I'm using the function called function. I know that's confusing, but that's how they do it. And inside the function called function, I put two arguments, if you will, miles and CPM, cost per mile. And I give CPM a default value of 1.2, which again, if you don't put a value for CPM, it'll automatically put a 1.2. Because sometimes based on the time of day, the cost per mile changes. If you're familiar with apps and private transportation like that. So after we do this, we have to go put our curly braces and press enter like so. And now we have to tell the function what to do. We're going to create an object called net.cost. It is going to multiply my arguments miles by CPM. That's what we're going to do. And then we want to return the value inside net.cost. Okay, so there we have it. After you do all that, you press Shift Control Enter, and our function is up and running. So just to make sure it works, we're just going to do that. And so now, when I do taxi calc and I put 5 inside there, I get 6. Why did I get 6? Because 5 times 1.2 is 6. So I know that as it is now, my function is working properly. But I want to include my if statement. We've all probably have ridden taxis or public transportation before, and the longer you're in the taxi, the further you travel, normally you start to get a discount. And so what we're going to do now is that if the taxi goes more than 10 miles, the person will get an overall 15% discount off their total price. So that doesn't make sense in English perhaps, but I'm going to show you how to put it inside the actual function, and you will see what I'm talking about. So, number one is I want my return net to be my last argument inside my function, otherwise I'm going to have problems. So I'm going to insert my if statement under line number 2. So I press enter like so. And so I put in if, and then inside the parentheses I put the condition. Miles is greater than 10. Now I need curly braces. So if miles is greater than 10, inside the curly braces is what R will do to my information. So if miles is greater than 10, so if I take a customer and I go further than 10 miles, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the object net cost, and inside net cost, I'm going to do net cost times 0.85 because I'm giving them a 15% discount. So let me slow this down for you real quick. Here's what's happening. I'm going to calculate miles times CPM, so 40 miles, whatever many miles times CPM. Now, if miles is greater than 10, I'm going to take whatever value I got here in line 2, and I'm going to multiply it by 0.85. That's why I'm reusing the object net.cost. There's no reason to give it a new name. I could change it, but it just gets confusing. And then once that is done, I will return it. So here we go. All right, we press Shift Control Enter. Now let's see what happened. So first I'm going to do 5 again, just to show you what it's like. So I get 6, and like I showed you before, 5 times 1.2 gives me my 6. But of course, that's less than 10. What if I do 11 miles? So we go back here, do 11 miles. I get 11.22. That's strange. How did it get that? Let's take a look at it. 11 times 1.2. Right now, I'm executing line number 2 manually. I get 13.2. Okay, now 13.2 times 0.85. Why am I multiplying it by 0.85? Because remember, if miles, this is line number 3, if miles is ever greater than 10, I must take my information from line 2 and multiply it by 0.85 as defined in my if statement. So I already have this here at the bottom. I press enter and I get 11.22, which is exactly what I got here when I let the function do it for me. So now you can see that by putting in the if statement, I'm able to change the calculation automatically. I don't have to do it by hand manually. Imagine having to punch this into the computer each time. It becomes very time consuming. So there you have it. In this video, we learned about how to create functions that employ the use of if statements. If statements will run or execute a piece of code that is dependent on a condition. And in this particular example in this video, the condition was whenever the miles is greater than 10, multiply the overall net cost by 0.85. This is how we were able to give our customer a discount for using our services. So we hope that this was useful for you and that you were able to understand and appreciate this. Thank you. Take care.